Hello and welcome to episode 14 of This Korean Life. The Gwangan International Community Fair is back, September 22nd. The Gwangan International Community Fair is back, September 22nd. The Gwangan International Community Fair is back, September 22nd. Held at Gorilla Brewing Pub in Gwangali. The Gwangan International Community Fair is a place for people to buy and sell handmade goods and crafts, pick up some garden fresh vegetables and homemade food, as well as custom-made clothing for children and pets. Children are welcome, so it can be a fun day for all. Shop for unique handmade goods, meet trusted service providers, and support local charities at the Gwangan International Community Fair. Check them out on Facebook. This podcast is also brought to you by Pop Songs for the ESL Classroom and more Pop Songs from the ESL Classroom. Are you tired of teaching grammar books? Looking for a fun Friday activity for your students? Then you might want to pick up a copy of Pop Songs for the ESL Classroom or more Pop Songs for the ESL Classroom. This book is a collection of 15 popular songs from the past and present that will engage your students and have them more interested in learning than ever before. Each song is accompanied by 4 worksheets that have different activities and speaking topics. The Notes for the Teacher section at the back provides a deep insight into the song and provides multiple suggestions on how to change your regular class into an experience. All of these worksheets and songs have been hand-selected, tried, and tested. What are you waiting for? It's time to spice up your classroom. Check out the Pop Songs for the ESL Classroom or more Pop Songs for the ESL Classroom by clicking the link below or checking out the episode post on Facebook. Today's guest was Jeff Coach Young. He sat down with us today to entertain us with his stories. This 20-plus year vet in Korea has seen and done it all and doesn't hold back when it comes to sharing his experiences. This man has done everything and paved the road for lots of us here in Ulsan. He mentioned that he'd like to be a regular on This Korean Life, so have a listen. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Everyone, please welcome Niagara Falls 1.0, the man, the legend, the mouth of the South, Jeffrey William Bruce, Coach Peter Kung Fu Panda Young.
You are now tuned into This Korean Life with your hosts Brian and Nate.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of This Korean Life. With us today is Mr. Jeffrey Bruce William Young. Jeffrey William Bruce Young.
Jeffrey Bruce Wilfred Paul Young. Get it right.
I apologize. This is Niagara Falls 1.0, the man who started it all, for me anyways. I definitely wouldn't have been here or even had any idea that Ulsan or Korea was an option for teaching. I had originally planned to go to Japan. Well, I'm not going to get into the whole story, but long story short, I ended up here because of this man. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing well, brother. How about
Good.
yourself?
We're okay. Boom. It's a hot Tuesday afternoon. You are on vacation.
I am on vacay, enjoying it, enjoying melting off a little bit of my fatness, and hopefully it'll melt a bit of my fatness off. It's done wonders for Nate. Look at him. He's half the man he used to be.
Absolutely. You're living the luxury life of a professor in Korea. How's vacation going so far?
So far, so good. Been quite enjoying what they call a staycay, getting healthier, hiking a little bit, melting, watching what I eat, just relaxing and maxing.
Why don't you go into the new health regime?
The new health regime. Well, all right, I'm a fat bastard. All right, I was weighing in, tipping the scales at 116.5 kilos. We do that in American stuff for Scotty, our brother here.
Translate for me.
We're basically, I would be able to have a middle linebacker's job in the NFL without the speed or the ability or that. I was weighing 260 plus, man. Fat mother. Oh, well, we'll keep that unto ourselves, right? So I decided that this can be the summer of me. Take care of myself. So the health regime now is I cut out Coca-Cola. I miss you so much. Coke, I'm coming back someday, soon. I cut out the Coke. I cut out the milk. I cut out the beer, and that's hard because, as we know, the greatest thing about Korea is the alcohol and the beautiful women, of course. But
Do you drink a lot of milk on a daily basis?
It seems like it was a problem.
I almost stopped consuming milk just because I don't eat cereal. Cereal's not popular
All right,
here.
Denmark milk, chocolate, mint.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
4 of them for lunch, minimum. 4 cartons of whatever of it.
That's like a bag of sugar.
Yeah, and with the 2-liter bottle of Coke.
Good Lord.
And then at least a liter of water to wash it all down, right? You need a little variety in your drinking life, right? Listen, my record was 3 hours, I put a case of Coke down. In Canada, 3 hours. I drank a case of Coke.
Were you shotgunning him?
What's that? Pretty much so. Like chain smoking. It was chain drinking Coca-Cola, doing the deal. So just trying to get out of there. No snacking. Eating once a day. Not shocking. I usually go on a fast to try to kickstart.
Back in the day when when I was working at Speak English with you, the regime was you had water, honey. What was that? You had a concoction of something, and you would drink that. I think you sustained yourself on that only for a week, and then you had lost some significant weight.
And then I kickstarted, but can't be good for you. Reading about health and such, it can't really be good for doing honey with cayenne pepper.
That's what it was.
And clean out your system. Like, what am I? Am I going to fight Conor McGregor in the ring and get down to weight? Like, come on now.
And come on, there's a lot easier ways to clean out your system. We're in Korea, man. Half the foods will clean that right out for you.
Oh, very much so. Good pajan, some spring onions.
Concoctions.
I agree.
One bulldog and you'll be clean for a month.
Oh, man, I miss spicy bulldog. That was always good. You guys go eat it. I take one bite and on the turlet for years, man. It just crushes me.
That's the samjang there. As soon as the minute it touches your tongue, you can just hit the timer because in 3 hours you're gonna take a
For
greasy
me
dump.
though, it's seafood pajan, man.
Yeah.
Seafood pajan will clean me right out. It is just a wonderful thing. Get the tubes all flowing, make sure everything's working there. Well, because, I got to be careful because I got a new ass, right? Went in for the rotorector. Yeah, Peter Reuter, hell no. Went right through, put the new one in, got the old one out. Worst thing is you're in the hospital in Korea. And they give you
Did you go recently?
No, this is a while ago. But they give me an anesthetic, so I've got the whole back and everything, can't feel a thing. But my head down, I'm wide awake. It sounds like they're driving a tube through me. I hear cook, 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 a metallic crushing on that. I'm like, guys, did you do any time or anything? You're putting a pole up there? What the hell are you doing? Anyway.
I had that experience. It was also interesting.
Was that last Saturday night or what?
Oh, Nady.
Shots fired. Yeah. Last Saturday night too, apparently.
Hello. Well,
let's take it easy on Nader. But
I'm not too friendly in here, sorry.
My dad did himself a disservice before his hip replacement. He watched the YouTube video of a hip replacement.
And it was do that.
He described it as like medieval.
It is medieval what
like
they do.
Saw the top off, and you're just basically hammering in a don't. He said they're using a mallet or whatever. But the crazy thing is the recovery. The surgery finishes. They pop your hip back in. He was walking, I think, hours after the surgery, so it doesn't seize up, or I don't know.
It's absolutely amazing what the increases in ability in technological achievements have been in every facet of surgery. Like, think about it nowadays. My mom's boyfriend, yes, my mother's 80 years old and she got a boyfriend. Well done, Mom. And he's got money. Even better, Mom. And number 3, they won the lottery a couple years ago. $1 million. Beautiful. Canada is a communist country, but no tax on lotteries is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
So anyway, my mom's partner just had his second open heart surgery.
Jesus.
16 years. And, back then when he first did it, they were like, it's going to be the new one. They said, no problem. We'll scrub you up. We'll do this. Next thing you know, he's walking 4 miles a day 3 months after surgery, better than he ever felt, golfing, doing all that. It's just Absolutely amazing.
Gino had one. Or my dad had one as well.
Gino, Brian's father, great man, loves the black Sambiki.
Oh no!
Oh, sorry. I gotta, time out on Brian there. He can tell his story, but why I say that is that his dad's wedding, I was there in Niagara Falls, out in the backyard, great time, and we basically did a lot of shots of black Sambuca, which put Brian and his cousin to bed, so Gino and me could have an adult conversation without them. Go ahead, Brian.
Anyways, his open heart surgery. Just I'm often pretty critical of the Korean medical system of it sounds crazy, but overcare. You break your nose. You break your nose. We've known some people that have broken their nose.
That?
It's 2 weeks in the hospital. I know a guy broke his toe. It was a month, and he's on
Paper cut. You get a juica.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, Gino's open heart surgery. I flew home the day that he had it. That was a Wednesday. That was a Wednesday morning, and he was out Sunday morning. So I mean, the surgery ended Wednesday evening, and he was out Sunday morning with a 5 bypass surgery. That includes getting.
Is that the quintuple bypass?
Pentuple.
Quin or pen, both are.
What's 6?
Sex.
Clearly, we're going to have to stop the
Sex.
podcast and look this up. So.
There you go.
But and that includes a cut from ankle to inner groin to peel out what do you call it? Pichu. I don't even know the English word anymore. A vein.
Veins.
Good lord. The vein to sew into his thing. But in Korea, I mean, if you want to scale a broken nose for 2 weeks to an open heart surgery, that would be at least 6 months.
It's ridiculous.
Hey, let's get back to your health regime. 1 meal a day. I want to know what the hell you eating only once a day.
All right. I try to
Case of
do
Coke.
3 food groups. Recently, by the way,
Reese's, Snickers, and
you guys jest, but I've thought of incorporating them into that. But thank God that dark chocolate's allowed. It's a good way to eat.
99.9.
That's got no flavor, man. It's disgusting. Have you had 90.9.9
Yeah,
dark
it's a nice
chocolate?
bitter chocolate.
Oh, what are you, German? Come on now, bitter? I'm not bitter. That's bitter. Was? No, basically the health program is what I eat. Monster Mart had a beautiful $30 basically rack of lamb.
Oh, yeah.
All right. But I got so much lamb out of it. So basically what I do is I reduced balsamic vinaigrette down with some barbecue sauce, grilled up my lamb chops, put them in. So for example, 2 lamb chops. I do some maybe 3 or 4 potatoes, vegetable on the side, steamed veggies.
Yeah.
That's my meal for the day. Or a big salad. Or whatever it is. Basically, sticking to that, cutting out everything is killing me. But on the same deal, I can't tell you how much lighter I feel.
Yeah.
In 1 week,
Yeah.
I feel lighter. I have more energy. Just walked an hour and a half with my dog and this will
Dude, if
to
you're
eat.
cutting out 4 chocolate mint chocolate milk
100%.
specials,
That's enough.
That's the deal. But as Brian knew, my tendency is to kickstart a diet.
Yeah.
So do the fasting. But obviously, like I said, it can't be healthy doing that, crushing everything. And I think the shock to your system, you get a good kickstart. Maybe you lose 7 kilos in a week if you're hiking and all that. But your system is just too much. And then you're not processing food. So when you get back on the food, I think it's even worse shock to your system. So this way, every day I'm doing that. I'm staying away from snacks, staying away from the late night.
That's the biggest
Staying
killer,
away
man.
from, as I said, the milk, the Coke, the whole deal. Basically, I put on weight in 2 ways. Number 1, Coca-Cola and every drink I drink. I could drink, I'd say, 6 to 8 liters of Coke in a day, along with 2 to 3 liters of milk.
Jeez Louise.
In 1 day.
you don't have to eat that.
Then that's what I'm saying. I didn't eat a lot. I've never felt hungry.
That's enough calories
Now
to kill a baby horse, man.
There you go. calorie counter. I broke the machine on the first day. All of a sudden it said, "So how many sugary drinks did you have today? So what's the minimum?
The bar doesn't go that high.
What's the minimum? Oh, that's the minimum? No, that's not even a sip for me. And there's the other thing, going out once a week drinking, cutting down on the drinking. But, 10, 11 beers, that's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
But that can't be good either, 10, 11 beers. You gotta
drink the light beers.
Light beer. It's like drinking, what is that?
Diet.
Coca-Cola Zero? Yeah, Zero was my hero. There's no flavor in there. Yeah. Take away the sugar. What the hell? Why drink something that's got sugar? It's like, what? Alcohol-free beer. What's the point, right? Next thing you know, alcohol-free alcohol. Shut up. Just go home with that. Come on now. I want to get drunk.
What did Jim Jeffries say?
Oh.
That was the best one.
Oh, he's awesome.
He was parroting someone saying, right. I don't drink because it tastes bad. I don't like the taste. I drink because I hate my life.
There you go. I have a reason to drink. Even though it's all good. But so the health regime, sticking to it so far, feeling good, feeling lighter. Weighed myself today, down almost 6 kilos.
Nice.
In the week, feeling like I said, like just enjoying it.
Jeff, towel rack.
There you go. Yeah. Now the fat belly. Now I just look like a normal fat person, not a fat slob, right? Or a fat bastard, as we all know me as. So it's all good.
And do you have a exercise regimen as well to go with it?
Basically,
some walks?
hiking, just walking, man. One thing about Ulsan, it's transformed itself. When we came here, it resembled a Pogue song. Dirty old town.
Yeah.
It was dirty bitch. We were like, but they have actually put their money where their mouth is. They've transformed the park system, the walking system, trails all over this city, garden spots, great places to rest. So walk along Tewa River. You can walk all the way up to Costco if you'd like. Up where they've got the new government buildings up there on there. Some beautiful paths, great walking things.
That's a whole new
steps
development.
And a whole new development.
And sorry, just Scott, when you were here, they probably had just passed that they were going to do that. Yeah. And within 5 years, they've how many square kilometers would you say that is?
I would say that's got to be 10 to 15. Yeah. Maybe 10.
Yeah.
All along Tewa? Or?
No, up on Songnam down below that.
I don't think it'd be more than 10 or 15.
No, maybe 10 maximum.
But 15. they leveled it and built a whole new city.
Go up and see the buildings.
It's insane, yeah.
I know what you're doing today. Okay. We'll go for a drive after, Scotty. I'll take out a drive up there. It's really nice.
The grand tour from Jeff?
There you go, the grand tour.
But it was weird. It was weird driving along and just seeing they built 3 new apartment complexes last week. And it was
amazing.
I mean, dude, huge government buildings. They got the main police,
and actually
some
funky ass designs on some of them, with a lot of them being very eco-friendly. With solar panels done, you see water retrieval systems up there, so they're starting to get it.
Nate, didn't you say before that Hyeokshin-doshi, or the innovation city? Mm-hmm. I think they tried 8 or 9 of them around Korea, and only two went the distance.
Stuck.
Yeah.
Well, they had a few planned cities. There was supposed to be one outside of Masan. That was an actual planned city in Korea, but I don't know if it went to plan. Now they've got Sejong City, which they're relocating most of the government. And I've been up to there. Actually, I went on a tour up there, and no character. The place looks like a ghost town.
We were in Songdo, and it was like a high-tech city of the future with no people.
No, exactly. Songdo was a ghost town, up there. But hopefully they'll attract people.
I guess with the falling birth rates, maybe that is the city of the future then.
There you go.
Well done.
There you go.
Yeah, Ulsan's pumped a lot of money into that, and
it
shows.
It's great because, they've got water places where you can do that. I bring my dog, pour some water on her head, cool her down, get it done. But what the great thing is that there's options of places to walk with a lot of public facilities here now. And back in the day, we considered, the 7-Eleven where you get a bottle of soju, that was a public facility. And that's all that, right? You'd walk in, there'd be concrete blocks and bombs falling on you pretty much. You couldn't walk anywhere. And this is pre-Munsu Stadium and all that, because it used to be a pond.
Yeah.
Kissed my first Korean girl there. Woo, woo, around the pond. All good.
You also took a bath in the.
Oh, I did
in
during
the
World
fountains.
Cup. Yeah, but, it's World Cup. You got beautiful Brazilian samba in front of you. What are you going to do? I'm hot. I got to take it. It was hot. I had to take a bath. So I went in the fountain. It was a good time. All good
So
times.
you've been here a long time. The World Cup was 2002. When did you get here?
I got here January 3rd, 1997.
Holy
A
shit.
date that is indelibly etched
Brian was
upon
still
my
a wet
mind.
dream then.
He was. He was a wee young lad in Niagara Falls.
January.
January 3rd.
I would have been grade 7, I think.
Grade 7. Ooh.
Anyways.
Oh, no, grade 6.
Grade 6. Very nice.
Jeez.
What about you,
Over there,
Nate? How old were you then? 97. What were you
17,
doing there?
17.
17.
Just
Still
got drafted.
Oh, NHL dreams were hot in his head then. He would have been. Yeah,
So,
really.
a lot of years later, Hagwon owner, bar owner, homestays, lots of different private classes and stuff. What? Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial life here.
Basically, never wanted to be the same as everybody else. So started in a hagwon, as most of us do, you know. That hagwon was an interesting one when I worked for this guy who was, he had a lot in common with Hitler.
Sweet mustache.
Oh, sweet little mustache. He was about, knee high to a grasshopper. Little man with Napoleon complex deluxe. But anyway, worked through the hagwon. Then I got a sweet job offer at an elementary school, Myeongjongcho in Taewadong. It was a great.
I worked there as well. Yeah.
It was a great job because they offered a nice house, 2-bedroom apartment, the freakiest apartment I've ever lived in. The entrance was through the kitchen. Then you had the living room on the first floor with a bathroom. Went upstairs, 2 bedrooms upstairs and a balcony. It was funky, cool. Pardon me?
That was a house?
It was in a Jutek, in a villa, but
Yeah.
the backside of it. But it was the weirdest configured place ever. Worked for us. It was all good. So, yeah, I had that job. Then from Myeongjong, I worked at Samho. From there, I went off the grid. I did 7 years of private teaching, 100%.
So, what were the options back in 1997, 98?
97, 98.
You were the only teacher.
No, there was actually, I came just in 97 was when the crash happened. All right, IMF, which is, they basically bailed out Korea, and the won went from being a hulking beast of a currency to worthless pretty much. And basically, I accumulated a lot of stuff from the Exodus. Everybody would leave and I'd pick through their stuff and take the best stuff. So I was staying for the duration because I wasn't going back to Canada for at least 2 years. That's another story. ATF and RCMP, they had some interest in me being where I was, but that's a long second story. We'll have to do another podcast for that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, at that time it was hagwon, elementary school, or working for, say, a PTA, which was what some elementary schools. Now, there was the EPIC program, same thing that's there today.
Really?
Sponsored by the government. It is something similar.
That was your way into the
you
elementary
could,
schools?
but no. When I got in elementary school, it was a very different deal. Myeongjong Elementary School, the PTA hired me, and I was sponsored by the principal of the school.
PTA, the Parent Teachers
Association. They hired me as an individual teacher. I was not part of a group, not part of an association. They hired me, and my visa was sponsored by the principal of Myeongjongcho. And that even goes to a better story because after a while, he found out I was getting married, and he ended up doing a beautiful speech at my wedding. Nice. So it was very nice. And then 10 years later, I met him again when we ran a hagwon, which you were at, and two of the kids there, that principal was their grandfather.
No way.
And their parents were getting married at that time when we were getting married, my wife and I, and the daughter had her her engagement party, and he canceled going to her engagement party so he could come to my wedding.
Oh,
So
very nice.
it's small town Ulsan. But yeah, at that time, go ahead.
How old were you when you came?
I was a sprite and sexy 33. 33 years
And
old.
was that average or normal then, or like now a lot of the
I found
the
that,
young teachers coming are in their early
at
20s.
that time, you really got a mixed grab bag of people, right? Like two of the people I met in the first year were Alan McKaylee,
Stacey Phelps.
Stacy Phelps. Three of the people, Stacy, Alan, and I met Mark Brown, ass clown, wild renowned. In Canada now, may never come back. We're not sure, but we love him dearly. Anyway, so yeah, none of us were the standard normal recruit, like of a young man out of university. All of us had lived the lives, done things, decided, hey man, we got to get our ass out of Dodge, and we decided to travel, see the world, come and teach with a guaranteed job, which was a cool thing. So at that time, jobs per se were, when you were at your Hagwon, you were basically locked in. You did your year or you didn't do your year. There was no transferring, no looking at other jobs, no doing I remember my Hagwon closed after 6 months and I had to sell myself to another school. So the school closed and just said, hey man, we're gone. We're done. Well, sorry about your luck. And I said, and I went and actually sold myself to another Hagwon. And he did the deal and took care of me, and it was good.
There was an audition?
Yeah, I had an audition.
At the end, you tip your hat like the aristocrat.
I never forget. One of the guys asked me, had an interview at one Hagwon where my friend was working there, Dara. That was her name, Dara. Wow, scraping the memory box there. Dara went in, I walked in there, and she was acting as a female servant to them, bowing and delivering coffee to the men as we had an interview. And I'm, first of all, completely blown away because my mother is a Catholic school principal. Retired Catholic school principal. That's a strong woman. She don't take shit from nobody. And in here, women were put into subservient roles, and that's the way it was back then. It's changing a lot now. This girl's serving me coffee. She's a young Canadian woman. What the hell are you doing serving me coffee? Like, what? And she's like, so the guy says to me, what is your philosophy of teaching? And I said, 2 million won. And he goes, at the time, the average salary was about 1.1, 1.2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, like back in the day. So he says, 2 million won. I says, for 2 million won, you get a philosophy. For 1.2, you get nothing. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya, down my tea. And I said, you're a misogynistic prick to him. And he looked at me, and Dara's like eyes rolled, and she goes, Anyway, but that was back in the day, right? It's what you got, what you had here. There wasn't a lot of transfer. A lot of Hagwon directors were complete bullshit artists and ripping off teachers. 11 months in was a standard practice where they complain, cut you, and lose your bonus and do that. It was so many, lose your airfare, to accuse you of things that you couldn't possibly defend yourself.
That was still very rampant when I came, and that was 2004, so that was still really common. How long were you here before you got married?
Let's see. When did I get married?
65 days?
65 days. Saw a pretty girl. She said, hello. Good enough for me. Let's get married, baby. How you been, girlie? Anyway. No, I got married on Christmas Day. So romantic, of 1998. So I was here basically almost 2 years.
Wow.
2 years in.
So quick.
It was pretty quick, but she's regretting it every day since, right? We've been married 20 years plus, and the poor girl, I love her and all that, but the stress is going to get to her eventually. She's going to run and dive in the Tewa and never coming up for air because, she lives with me. Listen to this mouth of the South. No, interesting woman, beautiful woman. I love her dearly. She doesn't like me at all, but hey, 20 years of marriage, still together.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
A big part of when I came and getting, there wasn't that many foreigners around. And to get to know the community and stuff was a place called Tombstone, which you were the former owner of, or one of the former owners. And I learned a lot of my Korean sitting at the bar talking to your wife and the wives of the other guys. So that was kind of a joint venture after marriage? How did you get into that?
All right. Well, I mean, there are always left turns and right turns. I find that Ulsan especially, that we have a rock solid group of foreigners. So the expat community in Ulsan is truly unique. And at the time, we had all kinds of, different friends and different people that were coming up. Now, we would go to this place called Tombstone, one of the foreign-friendly bars at the time, all right? So one day, a buddy of ours was talking about opening another place, which eventually became Troy and the Bench. So he's talking about it. So in his questioning of the anchor, prices, what have you, he asked me, for him, legitimately, he says, Jeffy, man, while you're there one night, talk to the owner, who I was good friends with, and see how much they were thinking about. So it came up. Next thing you know, got a price tag of it. I thought the price was good. It didn't seem bad. We had a lot of people coming in and coming through there. I've got a background in hotels and restaurants. That's what I did. I managed a 5-star hotel, was a 5-star waiter, got various abilities there. And I thought, hey, man, this might be an idea, right? We had good people coming in. We had a good community, a good crowd we could count on. So we thought about that. So I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to do it more as a group venture, a party thing. I wasn't there to make a fortune. I just thought, let's have, it was the old Cheers mentality, a place where everybody had to come in and they'd feel at home. Like you wouldn't feel like, oh, and Nate, you're a great example. All the boys from out west, AJ, Nikki B, Chucky, go on and on and on.
Don't forget about Petey.
We can't forget about Peter. All right. All these guys, we made so many phenomenal friends. Didn't make any money from that bar because we're idiots, but we had such a great time opening it up. And the reason we opened Tombstone more than anything was because I think it was on Canada Day when my future partners, Andrew, the best man in the world, Fawcett, and Mark, Ass Clown Brown, aforementioned, never forgot. We decided on Canada Day, after smoking a doobie, right next to, where were we? Oh, we were right next to someone and, a bunch of things. It's Canada. We sealed the deal. The boys were in. We said, let's take a run at it, see what we can do. We expanded the kitchen, updated a few things.
How much was something like that to start?
At the time, if I remember correctly, it was around $60 million down. But we were dumb. We paid rent. We should have bought it outright into the. I know the guys across the table are playing footsies.
Nate's dinosaur
Coming from your side of the table, to be honest.
Barney's dinosaur toe over here.
Barney in the purple shirt.
Somebody left Frodo in the building.
Beautiful day. So yeah, it was about 65 million we did on there. We had a bunch of partners. We all went in together. The girls would handle the bar. We would basically be, doing the meets and greets. I'd be running the kitchen, doing the menu planning, the whole deal. We started it, and we had so many fantastic theme parties. Guy by Boat tournament. We did King Henry VIII feast. We did St. Paddy's Day, the Shamrock Sprint, which still goes on at Shima today. Al, you're welcome very much. We did a lot of different things. We did the Olympics. We did. It was just like it was. I know the greatest thing is some people opened up, I think, a Facebook page about Tombstone about 5 years ago of former people who had met there and all the great times they had there. So, I got no regrets about that place. All right. It was all good.
I gotta give a shout out to Jeff for that one too, because that's where Brian introduced me to my future wife. So
there you go.
Current wife now.
I remember my first night in there. I mean, we had talked, I think, on the phone or via email before arriving. And one of my first times in Tombstone, I was looking specifically for you. I didn't know anyone else, and you were running around with a super soaker full of vodka,
big time.
Just hosing
Kamikazes, I think. Kamikazes.
Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Oh, that was
do.
That was quite the introduction to the tumor.
Like I said, the tumor, where it was fun. We had it. It was fun until it wasn't fun. You know, until basically it became a grind. It
was more laborious at the end.
For those of you that have never been, the Tombstone turned into, after the girls stopped running it, it turned into, if you could make it past 11 or 12, the alcohol was free.
Pretty much so. We'd open the bar.
It's a very generous place.
We forgot about tabs. We forgot about anything. We're just, running with it and enjoying it. But again, that's the deal here. If it's a business, right, you got to make money. You got to, you got to take care of the menu. You got to take care. Eventually, we didn't serve anything from the kitchen. We barely bought alcohol.
It came down to one draft.
One draft tap and the whole deal. Again, fun can only go so far. Eventually, it's got to be. Plus, we're getting older. People were starting to getting down to families and planning and things like that. And it was one of those idyllic times, where everybody that came into there, we had such a smashing good time.
One of my, something that's etched in my brain forever was, it was, I think in my first year here, walking into or getting a call from one of you guys late at night. I was just relaxing at home. You guys had been out earlier, and walking into Tombstone, and there was all the boys sitting around. I walked in, I think Billy Joel was on, and everyone was singing, just turned around, looked like Brian. It was such a welcoming, cool, just a great atmosphere, and that, I think, summarized how Tombstone was.
My favorite one, Brian, along those lines, that we have two friends, very good friends, Winnie and Jimmy. Winnie and Jimmy were an absolute freaking shit stain on the world at that time. They were just out of control maniacs, fighting each other in the bar when they owned Tombstone, breaking shit everywhere. They were basically getting banned from half the places around town. So we worried with them, and we sat them down before we bought it, and we said, boys, are you going to be a problem? And both of them said, hey, other people owned it. Now it's family. So Winnie coined the phrase, the fam. So those two became bouncers / promoters / terrorists, what they were. But for the tumor, they were fantastic. And they really flew the flag well. And we just, some of the best times ever. Our Halloween parties were epic. Nate's mammogram machine comes to mind. That was awesome. Driving the back of the car from your place with the thing hanging out, and on Nicky B on the bullhorn, everybody come to Tombstone, with my thing in the back. The great thing about being a foreigner in Korea at that time was pretty much nobody wanted to arrest you. That can't be good. There were so many times where I should have been in jail for a long time, and they'd look at me. I remember one cop came up, these two young cops, and a buddy of mine is at the front stairs. This is about 1997. He's the front stairs of a GS Mart or whatever it was at the time, and he's swimming back to Newfoundland. Yes, he was a Newfie, Gary, and he's swimming back. These two cops look at him they step over him. And I said, hey, guys, would you like some ramen? And I said, don't you want to arrest him? Oh, one guy spoke English well, and he said, oh, no, we just don't notice the foreigners here. And that guy that left him there swimming on the steps, it was awesome in the time.
More hassle than it was worth for
them.
Yeah,
100%. They didn't want to bring that guy in there.
Headaches and headaches.
Didn't want to do.
So let's keep her moving then.
Married for over 20 years?
I did. I married Hee-Jung or Hee-Jung Lee in the Western vernacular. English name Ava. I gave it to her because more ways than one. Hello, bada bing, bada bing. Anyway, sorry. Ava, I suggested her name after the beautiful Ava Gardner, Barefoot Contessa, Frank Sinatra's love. So, I met this girl, and 20 years later, we're still married, still doing it.
One thing I've praised you guys for, especially you in previous podcasts, is your dedication to your wives. You always say don't step out on the wives. You always give good advice, like don't go to bed angry, and you're always talking about the benefits of marriage and the good things, not so much. And here I think there is lots of opportunity to step out and
100%.
and
For
getting,
her as well. Remember that, gentlemen.
and to get
Especially when you're a 55-year-old fat bastard, and she's 44 and looks dynamite. Like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
She had a way more bigger shot than I do. Thank God I make more money, because I got to throw more money into the pool. But you know what I'm saying.
Got to be some balance there.
There you go. It has to be.
that's something I wanted to thank you for, man. Those were always wise words from the older.
You're
or
welcome.
from
Your
the first,
bill will
for
be
the
coming
first
in the mail.
generation.
So you said 2 years. So you got married in '99.
I got married in 98. So
98.
basically it was under a year. I met her very, like, I wasn't here longer than, I knew her from probably about 18 months. But we had a tumultuous relationship, not from her and I, but from the powers that be, being her mother and her family. At that time when I got here, holding hands with a Korean woman would, on a public street, would get you at least 2 or 3 older Korean men coming up to you and dressing her down. They wouldn't say anything to me, but negative language doing the deal. That was wrong. Kissing in public? Are you freaking kidding me? Didn't happen. Koreans didn't either, but a foreigner dating a Korean when I first came, it was definitely taboo.
You still don't see kissing in public.
Well, 100%.
You see-
Except
you
between
see the
you
hand
and
holding
Brian.
and a few-
I see that between you and Brian a lot, and
leg
I'm
massage,
proud of you
right.
too. I'm proud of you too. That's good.
And the most public displays of affection I see these days are the middle school kids. I mean, they got the most courage to.
How about couple tees? Was that frowned upon?
Oh, couple T's was de rigueur, par for the course. Yeah, Andy Fawcett, he was a champion of the couple T's. I told my wife, this will never happen. As much as I love you, it won't ever happen. Basically, getting into my meet and greet story with my wife. First time I saw her, she was working. Basically, Hagwon at the time. I didn't know anything. I was a dumb new teacher coming in. My Hagwon director pimped me out. I was teaching at the Hagwon for like 5 hours a day, but in the mornings,
He was beating
every
you up
morning,
and taking your money.
he was basically sending me out to 3 or 4 different kindergartens a week.
Okay.
I didn't make a dime extra.
Oh, okay.
He bought my lunch every day that I went in there.
Which you
He
were
was
thankful
charging
for
them.
at the-
I was thankful for at the time. You know, I didn't know any better. Back then, I'd be like,
Looking
"Oh,
back.
labor board, we got to do," you know. But I didn't know. I thought this is just the way it goes. So I ended up working at a place called Kids English. I think that was it, in Oakdale. And I walked in there. Nice place, 2 nice female directors, which was awesome. Beautiful ladies. I'm like, "Hi, how are you? We'd like you to come teach here." Walked in and into the main room, and there is this girl. Daisy Duke shorts on, half shirt, with the nicest belly I ever saw. Not one of those, Brian 8-pack bellies, that you worked hard for. Just,
That should be your wife's sister.
Oh, I wish that was my wife at the time. Beautiful, wearing the days. She's the art teacher. And Hee-jung spoke absolutely no English. Hello, goodbye. She was cute and she was fearless because she had no problem saying hello to me. As we know in Korea, I just walked by a girl in my apartment building and I said to her, "Good morning." And she went, "What?" Like saying hello, I know I'm an ugly fat man, but come on now, it's hello.
Were you sweating as much then as when you arrived?
Well, basically, I sweat in the winter here, man. I'm a fat man with 100%.
I'm on the same team.
100% forested, carpeted hair growth on the front. I got 80% on the back, man. I'll tell you. As the Koreans call me, Yasu, beast is in the house. But my wife kind of liked that, and she thought I was handsome. Now, guys, go back in time. At that time, had a long hair. Hair
Was it a samurai top knot?
It
or
was
it
no top knot like Scotty's rocking, because I couldn't rock that back then. Nobody knew any better. But I did go as a samurai Tim Youngjung for Halloween.
Okay.
And it was awesome with a pencil in the hair and the top knot full up on there. But no, I had long hair. I was
It's
about
not new.
87,
Everybody
80,
was.
88 kilos at the time, which is pretty much my ideal weight, so it's awesome. So I was looking all right, and she thought, wow, this guy's fun. And then the kids had a lot of fun with the kids. Just go ahead. 20 years. Interesting story. I go to teach a class at the college. All right. So as I'm going to teach this class, dental hygiene students, and just for all those out there, if anybody in another country hears, dental hygiene students at 21 to 22 years of age are a joy to teach. Why? They're just so nice. No, hot as anything out there, right? So anyway, one girl looks at me. Now, they usually smile and laugh. It's in my introduction. She's staring at me and she starts crying. And I'm like, uh-oh, what have I done? And she yells, she goes, Jeff, teacher? And I look at her and go, yeah, Hee-jung? Yeah, you were my teacher at Uchiwa. Oh, wow, fast forward. So she brought me a snapshot from that day of me rocking the thing with a speech contest, her in it. And she's like, oh, I remember you. You were wonderful. And I remember Hee-jung and you two still together. I'm like, that's awesome. So, yeah, it was a good place. I met that girl. We ended up dating. After the dating, we got serious. After we got serious, her mother tried to kill me and her and divide us then because, again, as I said, a Korean marrying a foreigner at that time, all Koreans saw was, we're going to take their children.
But come on, I mean, I've only been married 8 or 9 years, and it's not. It wasn't any different in 2010 or 11. It was,
there you go.
I mean, it was the father-in-law was very against it, and I don't even know these days what it's like for the guys that are getting married or the women getting married to Korean guys.
So has your mother-in-law come around to your amazing charm at this point, or?
Oh, that's a long story, but my mother-in-law is up in heaven, I hope. And long story, Scotty, no worries. Things happened. Interesting about
It had a happy ending.
It did have a happy ending, but for 7 years, her mother never talked to us, and we had no communication with her family for 7 years. Not on my end. I always push that. This was my wife's choice, her family's choice, and we lived in the same city. I wasn't taking this beautiful Korean woman, taking her back home and saying, I'm going to, make you. I liked it here. I liked what I was doing. I enjoyed. I didn't have any desire. Also, gentlemen, I think it has a lot to do with, I came over here at 33. I'd run the, dating until, where are we going to be? What are we going to do? We should get married. Hee-jung never had any of those deals.
Yeah.
She told me the best line of my life to my heart. She says, I don't care where we go. I just want to be with you.
Oh.
And, I'm not saying it in that way, but she never pushed. She was always there. She's a cool chick. But I got a problem with her now. Teaching English. Get off that. My wife is a beautiful painter. She's got gorgeous, gorgeous paintings in our house. In fact, Alan McKayley, one of my buddies, has browbeat her so much, she finally gave him a painting and told him to run away. Nice. Like, leave the house, the whole deal. But I wish she would go back to art. She's very talented. And again, my wife, excuse me, my wife was one of these people that she was looking for a way out, obviously. And marrying a foreigner, for her, was my wife,
She didn't want to sign up for the traditional.
She didn't want to do the traditional, have to go for that. She, wanted something different. She liked the style, my style. She loved me, I hope. We never know. But she's also independent in her own way. For example, my wife got a tattoo 19 years ago. Jeez, I think a year and a half. Back then, she said she covered it. She hid it. When she go to the bathhouse, it'd be like, on her own and doing the deal, and she'd go to different neighborhoods so nobody knew her. She made these obvious choices, like she wanted to change. And the greatest thing about my wife is her approach to English. She spoke no English whatsoever. Hello, goodbye. She learned English in a great way. How? Harry Potter, Twilight, enjoying herself, talking to people the way you should, creatively, finding the language. and
Doing it.
Not
studying it.
Exactly. Doing it, practicing it, using it in everyday speech. So now she's an English teacher, but, I'm very happy that she discovered something that she wanted to do. And luckily, we've been able to gel together. And she hasn't killed me so far, knock on wood. Remember, I'm alive. When I go home, I tell friends, drunken bastard that I am, as I toddle home at some nights, remember, I'm still alive at this point. So the death happened between this hour and this hour when my wife decides finally to sojify my ass. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But getting back to the mother-in-law, 7 years she didn't. We got back together. I became very close very quickly with her mother-in-law because her mother-in-law respected strength. I always stood up to her. I never backed down. I never used crude language. Never mofoed my mother-in-law because, it's my wife's mother. You can't do that. In fact, it come around so much that her brother actually lives with us. Can't get him out. Anybody who can help me get him out, son of a gun. Anyway, but before she died, I visited her in the hospital every day, took care of her, and I got the greatest compliment ever from her when she said, I
loved you in The Shining.
Thought I was Jack Nicholson. Man, I thought you were Jack Nicholson. Son of a bitch. All right? You don't know the truth. You can't handle the truth. Anyway, at the end, she gave me a great recommendation where she said, I want you to take care of the family. I want you to be the man. And she actually had my name etched on her gravestone.
Nice.
In awesome. Memory of, which was, a complete turnaround. So, mother-in-law, hey, you were tough as nails, but you know something? You never swayed. You were always tough. Yeah, I really respected her in the end, and I respected her position. Once she got to know me, she realized, hey, man, this is not a bad guy who's going to protect my daughter, protect the family. But again, that's the way it goes.
And that's one good thing these days. It seems to have come around a lot, and it's changed so fast. And one of the articles in the news last week or 2 weeks ago was, I think, 80% of unmarried people now are willing to date foreigners, men and women. And you see a lot more women with Korean boyfriends and husbands, and it's really opened up. It's really changed a lot.
Very much so.
Because I remember the same thing, walking in public, and we'd see someone 100 meters ahead we might know, and we'd let go of our hands, and we'd walk different directions, and then we'd join once we passed them. And yeah, it used to be like that all the time. So it's evolved a lot, and it's nice now. And a lot of these young kids traveling all over, they're getting some pretty big global experiences,
100%.
And they're really a lot more open-minded now.
Well, just even the travel factor. If you do, sure. We always survey. Teaching at the college now. Been there for 11 years, but I do surveys with my students, and exactly what Nate just said. I always ask them all at the beginning of the year. I said, I want to do some surveys. How many of you? The three most interesting answers that I get are: number one, how many of you want to get married? Back 10, 11 years ago, it was close to 100%. No. I'll get married. Now, 25 to 30% don't even want to get married. They're not interested in it, which I think is just amazing. And we all know how this single culture is going, be on your own. Hell, the internet's changing, the lunch system's changing, all kinds of things changing for this single person.
People, when I was just in Canada there, people found it absolutely amazing or kind of crazy or strange that the honsur, that's like, drinking alone. And I told them, before we arrived, Julia was out in a bar meeting one of her friends, and there was a girl there just hanging out watching YouTube on her phone, throwing back beers. And
there you go.
I always view drinking as a social event, time to hang out with buddies or whatnot.
What?
Living alone.
Buddies like Jack Daniels,
Mr.
Jimmy Beam. Yeah, I know those guys.
Old Johnny, J Dubs.
So listen, what?
Oh no, I was gonna just you mentioned internet there. Jeff somehow manages to stay intertwined in the community with zero SNS.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When I came, there was no Facebook, and you had to go out and meet people and ask questions or send an email. You couldn't just, put on the Ulsan online there. Where do you buy milk, or where do you get this? Or where?
Big time.
You actually had to go out and meet people, ask questions, talk, socialize.
I still do that. Woo!
But yeah, you managed to keep off of it. How
Or what's your reasoning for staying off of?
Well, number one, y'all knew they're data mining you to death. I've been telling people it wasn't paranoia.
You didn't know that in 2009.
Well, yes, I did. I told people anybody who gets on there, you're going to have your information. Look, believe it or not, I have it based in fact. My brother, we can't tell his name right now. That might affect the security of Canada. They might steal one of our 4 battleships that don't work. All right, sorry. But my brother worked in communications research. Now, here's one that'll give you just a classic one about all this is pre-internet. My buddy and I, let's say my buddy has a nefarious past, biggest smuggler in Canada of alcohol from America. Anyway, so one day he's in Ontario driving, and I'm in BC. He gives me a call. All right, we're on the phone 3 hours. I'm trying to keep him awake in a cross-country drive. He's doing late things, in and out, mucking about. Anyway, 3 months later, I come back to Ontario, and my brother hands me a tape. On the tape is a conversation between my buddy and me. He says, "Is this you on the tape?" I said, "That's me and the buddy on the tape." And I said, "How did you get this? Isn't this illegal?" And he says, "You wouldn't believe what people listen into." So then when the internet came and different things, he says, "Are you crazy?" And again, my brother wasn't saying anything specific, but he says, they are listening in deluxe. Anything you put up on a digital footprint is going to be used for whatever. Now, was I so crazy? No, the reason I didn't get on Facebook because I'm a bitch. That's it. I'm just anti, everybody adopting it. I got to go the other way. Screw that. And then it just became a point of being too much of a bitch that I could never get on it because you know what? I bitched too much of it. It was like Michael Jackson when he was great. Now we all look back and there's problems with him, but I loved his music, but I couldn't get on board because he was Michael Jackson. So then I bitched about it. And then after everything happened, counterculture, I still think we should develop Assbook.
Assbook?
Assbook. Listen, not Facebook, Assbook. No, we can put great asses on there. Yes. No. I don't mean it in such a way, Scotty, but I mean it in jackass, dumbass, smartass, all right? And just great asses. Yes, it's a misogynistic, but hey, we'll go male, female. We'll do they, we'll do him, we'll do her. We'll do twinks, we'll do eggs. We don't care. Chubby bubbies, who gives a shit? But I'm saying, no matter what you put out there, as many candidates have found out, nothing's hidden, nothing's sacred. So the only way I stay connected is I try to talk to a lot of people. I do get out once or twice a week, meeting with people. And as we come back to the network, you, Brian, Scotty's back in town. Brian and Nate stay very connected with people, but I always find that I much prefer to see them in person. Because, it's great talking, digitally, and Kakao is always great. We've got buddies all over the world and in a couple of chat rooms. Those are great. But at the same time, Twitter, what a piece of shit. Anything that has twit in it. Twitter, you're an idiot going on there. Look it's the media of choice for Donald J. Trump. What a goon. All right. So again, my choice for staying off that. The other thing is I read a great article and it must have been about 10 years ago. And it said that Facebook, one of the guys on Facebook, he said, after joining Facebook and putting all my friends on there, talking a lot with them, he said, I discovered what a bunch of dicks they are. By posting too much. But on the other hand, I've watched you guys and I've watched my good friend Alan, all right, use it for parties, use it for announcements, use it for groups. I love Facebook's groups. I think they're wonderful. Like-minded people.
It's an important. If used right, like any
correctly,
tool.
Like anything, it's a great tool. And again, many of you guys have called me the grandpa. Oh, he doesn't know nothing. I know a ton of a lot about this.
Do you know that you have a Facebook profile?
I know that Jeff Kung Fu Panda has a Facebook profile made by Winifred. But, well, it's looking at it like this. Like, for example, in the last week, I discovered Wakelets, which is a cool grouping of websites, which is fantastic for students. I discovered What If, What When, about 42 massively cool websites that are fantastic because I'm trying to stay current. I want to know what's out there. I do enjoy it. But the greatest thing about staying off the thing is I don't get the bullshit flack that everybody gets. Like, did you hear what so-and-so said on the... Who cares? Say it to my face, mofo, and I'll deal with it then. That's not my deal.
Like you say, I like using it for meaningful reasons.
Yes.
One, to stay connected with family, I think is great.
And you do well with it.
And two, for the groups and promoting your clubs or whatever, I think is great. The mindless scrolling, if it's YouTube or Facebook or whatever, just the internet in general. Mm-hmm. If you're into the mindless scrolling, that becomes a major issue.
You do have to kind of self-audit doing that. I know how bad it is, but yesterday, trying to edit the previous episode here, I had to go on and get a picture to make your question list. And I found Jeffrey Kung Fu Panda Young, and then it was, oh my God, look at this picture. And you're going through an album. I went, that was 30 minutes of my time. Just totally gone doing nothing.
Totally immersed. Yeah. It's like you were just saying, Nate, YouTube. Love it and hate it. Yeah. YouTube, you get on there, maybe 11 o'clock. You might have an early class the next day. Usually I got a 7 a.m. class. Next thing you know, I'm 3 hours deep because it suggested one. It's like...
Russian dash vid cam.
Well, some of them are just like... I watch them, like... driver reactions, and you get into that, or best. Then I get into comedians. Then I get into, and next thing you know, like
That's it though.
It is.
Going, right?
It is definitely. And hey, I've enjoyed the hell out of it, But it's addictive, as we all know. It's like
watch this bully get knocked out.
There you go, knocked to someone else, and
sign me up.
Oh yeah. For me, I love singing programs. They rock my world. Where all over the world, where somebody gets up and
I think that
just rocks a great song.
Oh,
I think it's great.
Carpool karaoke.
Oh. Dude. Carpool karaoke, and seriously, James Corden, I think his show is terrible other than carpool karaoke.
He has other shows?
His talk show.
Oh, the rest
his
of the
talk show, the whole deal. I love James Corden, but he did that one with Paul McCartney.
Yeah, it was great.
It was just phenomenal. Yeah. Him and Justin Bieber get along great, and shows a good side of Justin Bieber because, hey man, kid's talented out the ass, but he's a dumbass. All right? I think he's dumbass of the week.
He might be handling $8 billion better than most.
Yeah, again, I think he's done well. What is he worth? $300-400 million now?
Oh, God.
Something in like that. Anyway, doing very well. His buddy Scooter Braun. Woohoo! Taylor Swift don't like him too much. Woohoo!
Speaking of Hollywood gossip, not found on SNS.
Anyway, you can keep up on your stuff. I love sports. I love that. But it's even like sports talk. Nate, we as Canadians, we know, but I love NFL football, even though I'm Canadian because I picked a good sport. Sorry, boys. But, you get into there, there's so much trash talk and so much on there. You really, like Brian said, you got to edit it.
But it's nice to be able to pick and choose.
Yes,
for instance,
very much.
For instance, podcasts or sports talk radio or whatever you want.
Very much.
If I listen to that when I'm driving, that's awesome because before I used to have to listen to the radio, which I might only enjoy 20% of the content.
I agree.
But that was the only option. So in that way, I love that I can listen to it, whenever I want. And we're lucky in Korea, the internet speeds and downloading speeds and stuff are top notch. So we're lucky in that regard.
Something that we wanted to bring up as well was, I don't know if Scott, if you know, Jeff, one of the first times I visited your house, I saw an award on your mantle for honestly the best citizen in Ulsan.
Well,
I don't know if this was
10 years best teacher.
10 years best teacher
of the decade.
Teacher of the decade?
Yeah, baby, I got
well,
that.
I was gonna say because I've only seen Jeff do very citizenly things.
It couldn't be for citizens. You guys are way better citizens than I am. But teaching, hey man, I got my jam. I like what I do. I think I give a lot to the students and do well.
Yeah. What or who handed that out, or was that
Basically, that was
he just had it printed?
was on a candy heart, you know. Teacher of the decade. Well done, sir. You get it. Basically, I don't know. Troy McDonald, God love him, he arranged this through the Ulsan Volunteer Association. Basically, Jeff had been here for a long time. Jeff had done well, UIVC, and that they wanted to hand out something and say in recognition of basically putting in the time. All right.
You lasted.
You survived.
Yeah,
10 years.
exactly. I survived. I did all those, but also that I had a very good reputation with, I guess, the people that matter. Right? You know, I've survived 11 years at the college where I've seen a lot of people come and go. I survived 7 years of teaching privately, Myeongjong, everywhere. And everywhere I left, I've had great relationships with those people. And I don't know, you know, like changing jobs, people got to do it. People got to do it. But I just find that, you know, many times, if you can stick it out and work from within the system, where you can, like, I've been at that college for 11 years, and God love them, it's got a lot of pluses, it's got a lot of minuses. But the biggest plus that I find is I've been able to connect with students, you know, right? Like, I mean, take away their fear, make them comfortable with English, make them realize that, hey, it's not a grammar fest. It's not studying 42,000 words a day. It's interact. Guys, say hello. Hi. Move on to your next question. You don't need perfect vocabulary. You don't need perfect grammar. No. Just talk, man. Get it out there.
Sure.
And
being here over 20 years, you are an absolute workhorse. There's no very rarely. I mean, even on vacation, you're doing camps. You're doing lots of extra things.
not today.
A lot of that. Today's only podcast. We need fully energized Jeff. But, you know, a lot of teachers come here after a year or two, they get burnt out. I've gone through a period of feeling super burned out. What keeps your motivation up? What keeps you going? What keeps you ticking?
That's a great question, because buddies like the guys who've been here a long time, you guys, it's so funny when I say to Brian, how long you been here now?
12 years.
12 years, junior. Nate, how long?
15
years. The young teachers, we're bringing them along. But yeah, me, Al, Mark, a few others who've been here quite a long time, talking about motivation. How do you get... the number one thing I've been able to do that has kept my motivation is I've had free reign at my job. I've been able to control what I do, when I do, because I get results. So my motivation more than anything, like Nate and I shared a class of Korean kids and foreign kids. More than anything, I don't care if 90% of them don't get it. But when you see that light bulb pop on one kid who realizes you went the extra mile for him, you sat there. For example, I do a lot of cooking classes. There's the other thing, Brian. Nate, Scott, you know, if you can possibly, I love cooking and teaching. I love learning something new and sharing it with them. I love giving of myself, and they know me, and they're able to ask questions. So the motivation comes from doing something I enjoy and passing on the kids. Yeah. And the students coming back to me, for example, I did a camp just 2 weeks ago. And at the last day, I had a lady, she was 49 years old, which I'm seeing a lot more in Korea. Older students coming back. This is awesome. So she has the most difficult time because, you know, in Korea, that's just not par for the course. Anyway, they all finished the camp. On the last day, they made a presentation to me, a book, Toy Story 4, You're Our Hero. And they all signed it, said thank you so much. They're going to the Philippines. They're traveling all over. They got a lot of the camp. But the greatest thing was that they all said, you made us not afraid of English, and that English could be fun.
Yeah.
So my mission and my motivation is make it fun. Stop pretending like it's this neuroscience, all right? It's, hi, how are you? Engage. Yes, if you're taking literature, translation, all those things. Yes, you need to move it to a higher level. But guys, we got to get them over the basics of meet, greet, and go on.
It's got to be enjoyable, right?
Yes.
But that drive,
They lose it.
I think that fear or that elongation of learning the language is more why what do you say? They've monetized it, right? And they want to drag
Yes,
that out
100%.
instead of a month-long phonics course. You can teach any kid to read in a month, probably.
It's like a barista course for 4 weeks. I learned barista in 30 minutes. Are you ridiculous? It's a button. You idiots. It's a button. All right? It's really coffee in, tamp it down, put it up, hit the button, swirling milk. What? Like I went into a coffee shop, right? And
Give me a vanilla
there you
bullshit.
go. Went in their coffee shop, and the guy spent 4 minutes doing a rose in my wife's foam. He paid for that. He paid for that one, right?
You mean a foam and a rose?
Then, nobody needs a foam and rose, but I worked with her later on it, and we did a foam and rose of our own. But bada bing. But after she gets the coffee's cold. Idiot. Make a little design, do what you can. But anyway, coming back, as you said, it doesn't have to be this. It can be fun. It can be that. And kids got to be challenged. Students got to be challenged. And that's the end of the day. If you're not challenging yourself as a teacher, then you're not going to challenge these kids. And they got to have the ability to go off the grid. And I want to bring that last point back to Nate. Nate just said, internet, what you're doing here, podcasts, all that, so much on the internet. And for example, doing these wakelets, trying to organize websites that are fantastic for the students, right? It's options. We need to give students options. Let them think outside the box, all right?
They do. Now they all think of being YouTube heroes.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'll go to the next one there. Where I mentioned before, and like you just said, you work lots, you keep up your motivation. Where did you develop this work ethic? Was this were you forged in the in the oven of Niagara Falls?
Forged in the oven of Niagara Falls. Bri, you know. Guys, man, growing up in Niagara, you have no idea.
I do. It's no Thunder Bay.
Because we didn't kill Terry Fox.
No, hurting. Got a lot more people, right? And like Niagara was a very interesting city because my first real job was at 14. I worked full-time summer, and then I worked all the way through. We always had an option to work. And if you didn't work, your buddies were all working.
Yeah.
So you needed to get that job. So the work ethic was the other thing, was something that I believe has to be done now with all younger people. My mom said, hey, you want to buy those new pair of jeans? They look good.
Same.
Buy them. I will give you everything you need. My mom and dad worked their asses off to give us a great house, a great pool, vacations all the time. Fantastic parents, wonderful people. But if I wanted something like,
She's not going to moonlight to buy
yes, 100%. And they did moonlight. Like my mom would work a summer. My dad were going to just to put in the pool, all right, to get us that extra Disney World, Disneyland vacation. Been to both? Yeah, baby. So they could do that. But nowadays, it seems the mollycoddling of young people, of Ulsan people living here, rich, bitch, privileged. I don't mean bitch in that way. Rich, bitch, privileged kids who don't want to go to work and don't. Any kid in my class who comes and say, I have a part-time job. I got a Newsbeck kid who tells me I go out of town. I work in a factory.
Please tell that story. Give some more light on that. I heard that the other day, and it was just to contrast it with. You can't paint everyone with the same brush, but a lot of kids are.
A lot of them are.
The parents tell them your job is to study and nothing else. There's we didn't have that, or I didn't have that luxury growing up. It was work, for, one day during the week, Saturday, Sunday mornings, and throughout the semester. And if I worked one shift on a summer vacation, this was a relaxing day. If it was a standard double, you make money to pay for your
jobs.
But this is a culture where only an A+ brain can get you a good university, which gets you a good job, which gets you a good life and a good wife. So in that, I mean, I can understand the culture here. There's no resources. It's only human resource. It's brains, and that's why they train them so hard, because their only idea of success is to be the top in your class everywhere you go to get a good job for a good life.
But the only skill in the world is not academic skills though. And through a part-time job, I think
But as Nate says,
a lot of the soft skills that aren't necessarily testable are very important.
They don't teach soft skills here. And that's what's killing it nowadays, because soft skills are what are needed to develop podcasts, develop internet things, to have new ideas.
Calling me soft, bro?
Yeah, baby.
But we had a lot of opportunities, different opportunities growing up. Where
Very
here,
much
I mean, they're putting these study machines from. I told you they just asked me to teach a interview prep class to 7-year-olds.
Oh, that's 5 years old in Western age.
To get
5 or 6 years
to
old.
get into academies when they go to elementary school in March. They're going into grade 1, so they'll start doing English academies. And they asked me if I can do a class 3 times a week for 7-year-olds to prep them for the private academy interview to get in.
It's ridiculous.
And they asked me if I could recommend a book, and I said, "What kind? I don't think there is a book for 7-year-old test prep for interview prep. You're not getting a
picking your
job."
nose during the exam.
There you go.
So they're putting these study machines from so young that
100%.
they don't get all the, and it's changing. It is
It is.
changing, but in general, they don't get the opportunity. And if you say, "I want to be a chef or a taxi driver," it's not. They don't care for that. No, you're going to go and you're going to do this and you're going to be this. So
My grandmother often said
Very
the
different.
world needs ditch diggers, right? But in this society, they don't allow that. And you're right, Nate. And I'm not, when I say about the rich bitch kids that are feeling privileged and all that, what I'm saying is now your parents have pushed you through. They've sacrificed everything. Now it's up to you. And I'm saying at the college level, they have options to pick up part-time jobs and do work. And as you were asking about, Brian, I contrast it with students who come in, and Nate, we know this. We get this every Monday morning. How was your weekend? Oh, so tired, teacher. What did you do? Oh, drinking. Really?
3 hours of
3 hours,
handfuls.
but you're tired. You slept 9 hours last night doing the deal. Now they have the options to work and to make money or not. And of the Korean class, I did part of my surveys, and 3 or 4 of them have jobs maximum.
and
3 or 4.
they don't understand that tired. They don't understand
No.
hard work. We used to go partying, drinking till 2, 3 in the morning, and we'd be at the golf course cutting greens. They might not have been straight, but we'd be cutting greens at 6 in the morning, and that was it because that's what you had to do.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, just, again, to go one level beyond that, there might be someone listening to this who looks at that and goes, "Oh, wow, you slept 5 hours in your nice bed." I bet there's a lot of other countries
This is what I was
that
gonna
are working
compare it
so
to.
much harder than
This
we
was
are.
gonna compare it to.
Sure.
And this was the comparison that, like Nate said, what struck us between the eyes. We were doing our final exams for this class. And I had a job. He's doing job interview ones. I was doing prep interview ones and asking them what's going on with them. And one of our students says, every weekend, I've been going up to, where is it?
Masan.
Cheonju or Masan? Chinju. He was going up to Chinju every weekend. Kid from Uzbekistan, all right? And he was working in a factory, 12 hours, both days. And he said, teacher, I don't know if I should tell Nate, teacher, this accomplishment. And I said, what is it? I've been able to send 1 million won to my mother in Uzbekistan.
$1,000.
About $1,000. So he sent $1,000 to his mother in Uzbekistan. So I said, I know a lot of you Uzbek students. What is the average wage in Uzbekistan? And Brian, this extrapolating from what you said, right? Harder, and he says, about $1 to $2 an hour is the
So you sent a
average
month,
wage.
so-
So he sent $1,000 to her mother, and he said that will cover her bills and the family's bills for 6 months plus of him working that. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, you tell Nate that story. You be proud of your work ethic of what you're doing. Plus, in class, the kid messaged me 3 or 4 times a day asking me about things, questing for knowledge, doing that. So, yes, it's true. Korean, what do you want to call the Korean study cauldron, putting them all in, robotically doing that, making them automatonic in a way of they must do this, they must do that. But now, once they get out, Sure, maybe they want to be a YouTube star. Maybe they want to be a League of Legends boss and be pro gamer deluxe. They've got options. Now they've got to start taking control, getting those part-time jobs, making money for themselves, and learning a work ethic. All right? Because their parents got it. Because this country is amazing. They don't even know how amazing they are. Rose from the Han, the trashed economy that it was after the Korean War in 1953, and have created this because of hard work.
Sure.
These company guys, they crush me. Like you say, but you
But
said
they,
about
but
4
they,
years.
they see it as the studying is the hard work. It's not the labor anymore. The studying is the hard work, and that hard work's going to pay off with this beautiful job that sets you up for life.
But that was 5 years ago
Yeah.
when it started peaking out. And now it has to evolve. It has to change. And as you say, look at the culture now. Like we're just talking to Scotty about 30% of them don't want to get married anymore. This, like you
I would say
say,
it might even
drinking
be higher
alone.
than that.
I would imagine. So did you know that one of the stats that I loved? Last year, for the first time ever, soju was not the number one
Right, yeah, I
selling
saw that.
product at a convenience store. What was? Boxed lunches.
No.
The lunch sets.
I saw an article on that. Yeah.
Yeah, the lunch sets. So, that shows that people are doing alone. And again, if they're not marrying, this low birth rate is not going to get better. So, what are we going to do? Has to be new avenues, new ideas,
And that's the one thing that Korea's good at is changing.
Damn straight.
They change really fast, and some things take a long time, but a lot of things they do change really fast. Innovation isn't exactly their forte, but they also can do that. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next 10 years because some major changes are needed.
Has to be done.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, living here for as long as I have, one thing that I've been struck by about Koreans more than anything else is that they are cognizant personally of the problems that they're facing. But collectively, they don't want to do anything about it. They'll still send them to the Hagwon, the whole deal. And they, like all my company guys tell me, it takes time. 10 years probably to change this. But I think that challenge spirit, challenge yourself. Do something different for your kids. Give them an ability to go different. This year I had a kid with a neck tattoo and long hair walking in my class. And I went, hey, man, that's all right. You look a little different. Choose your own path. Do something different. But again, how do we get it more? By introducing kids to choice, to options.
And that's pretty hard considering this is, commonly known as the most homogeneous country in the world.
It is.
It's a lot easier back home or even in any other countries in Asia, but
Isn't that milk homogenous milk?
Jeff's off that.
Oh, I'm off the milk. Don't bring up the milk.
Korea is also the most
Chocolate
pasteurized
mint.
company
Yes.
in the world.
Okay, listen, you've endured a lot of stuff here. How much longer do you think you can stay in the game? What is your plan? Do you think you can retire here? You said you've been through a lot at the university or the college, the Hagwon, the private teaching. How much longer do you think you can last? How much longer do you want to last? And what's the plan in the future? Because it's something we think about often. At what age do I have to leave? Go to a third country? Go home?
Well, I'm not going back to Canada in the winter. Never going to happen. No. Went back a few years ago, minus 45. Are you freaking ridiculous? Trying to smoke outside, I almost broke my nose. Come on, what's wrong with you people? Who lives like that? Are you nuts? Yeah, we won't get into frozen tits or anything like that, Brian. But as an exit strategy, I don't really have an exit strategy.
I don't mean it has to be an exit strategy. Even maybe exit out of the working game.
Graduate, whatever. But I look at maximum. I think I got 4 to 5 years. All right, at my age, doing whatever. Again, then I want to get into a private game. The private game.
Hold on. If you don't have the Coke and chocolate milk, you got about 10 years left.
There you go. Working. I can work for 15 more years. Also, here's one of the things I don't foresee. I'd love to live the life of Riley. Be rich, choose where you go, do what you do. But from what I've seen, it looks pretty damn boring. I want to be in the game. I want to be producing whatever it may be doing. Brian and I have often talked about, well, the three of us, that's all we talk about. Future ideas, 100%. And that's the one thing. I love that you guys are motivated. Look, I love that you're doing this podcast. I love the thing. So personally for me, 3 ideas. Number 1, got to write a book. All right. I don't care if it becomes a bestseller but I've done so many things. Like we didn't even get to the fact that I pushed my friend over the falls in a barrel. Woo! Rode a jet ski across the Bermuda Triangle. Oh yeah, baby. Have done that. Oh yeah. Actually, it was so bad there. We went out with the sea report was 1 to 3 feet of swells. Yeah, once you got out that was 4 to 6 feet of swells. On a jet ski, not a fun thing. 4.5 hours later, the salt and sea air dried upon me, cracked my nipples. My nipples were bleeding. I'll tell you, driving across the Bermuda Triangle. I was hoping some alien took me up on there. I'm saying, so got a few ideas.
We're gonna no problem. Just lube my nipples, bro.
There you go. And that was. I've done a lot of things, a lot of adventures that I want to put down and do that. That's an idea, just personal thing. But for growth per se, I want to get into the idea of bringing students in and challenging them to find their personal nirvana, something that really
Life
rocks
coach.
their world. Not so much a life coach per se, but I'm a damn good life coach.
There is an English life coach in Ulsan.
Really? Who?
Yeah, I thought I saw one online.
No, I don't want to be a life coach. What I'm saying is I want to get students in and I want to take them, and instead of having just, here's what we're going to teach in English, basically making a package for them. For example, one of my students, we know ASAP. This kid is phenomenal. He just wants to work in other things. He's in the running shoes. And give him the options with the availability of the internet, making personalized study programs for him, which are not study programs. Here, go to this website, learn about this, and then go take a marketing class, which is online for free, all in English. If we can meld a student with their passion, something they like, and make them take it English. I look at my wife, best example, Harry Potter, Twilight. These things were easy for her. So those are one of the things I'd like to do, make it more personalized in the education approach. Finally, restaurant, baby. I'd love to open a restaurant, but not here. I'd like to be on a beach somewhere.
Cuba
huge.
with them.
Oh, yeah. I've been to Cuba. You don't want to be there. No infrastructure. They're going to be... No, I'm just saying Cuba and America's just pulling out again. They need 5 years of working on their infrastructure. Get a great place, Cuba. Loved it to death. Warm beach somewhere. Large teaching kitchen. 10 guest rooms. Small hotel. Every day we come in. Today we're doing Jamaican. Tomorrow we're doing Mexican.
Chicken.
Yeah, we got some jerk chicken. Woo, baby. That's all good. Yeah, man, Rasta. It's all good. We would enjoy ourselves. So, again, retiring in Korea, I've never really even thought about it. Because I don't think about retirement. I've never been one of those people who said, I'll try to work, hopefully do better, and then...
But I think
Come up on new actions.
Formal teaching.
the idea of retirement probably comes from the factory worker of I'm
there you
sick
go.
and tired of this thing.
Your body's broken.
Yeah. I can't lift things.
And that's the
anymore.
thing, man. Physically, teaching can be physically hard on us. I put a lot of energy in. I do a lot of work. I love the
I've seen
doing
Jeff
that.
dangle kids out of windows.
There you go. All part of love and respect.
I loved it, yeah.
Try the Michael Jackson on
But
me.
like you said earlier, how you've endured so long or you've lasted or whatever. I think we talked about that earlier this week or last week, that having the freedom to pick and choose your work and
Yes.
take as much as you want and control yourself. Even if you had a boss or someone you had to answer to, but you could kind of teach underneath, it's kind of in the middle. But just having complete freedom to kind of do what you want is
what we have at our colleges. I think you do have a boss, but they're not
Yeah.
influencing your
not your
teaching
day to
per se.
day. There's no micromanagement of it. It's macro, and they allowed you. The other thing is they know you get results.
Macro or invisible?
Basically, yeah. I'd say invisible more in my case. And I've been lucky, but again, it's because the students have responded favorably to what I'm doing the deal.
Sure.
But at the same time, I believe that I want to get more internet savvy with my teaching, learning things. Like Google Classroom, you're showing me how to hook these things up. I learn different things by my own trolling on the internet, finding out not trolling, scrolling. I don't troll anyone because I don't go on social media. The only people I troll are these guys here because I troll them in person.
Old school troll.
Old school troll. Where I wait under a bridge. You know how it is. Nobody comes under the bridge, but I was just under the bridge with the man.
They don't call him Jeff Sansani, they call him Jeff Togebi.
Togebi. It's all good. So yeah, as far as retirement, I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that I want to keep progressing. Yeah. And I'm very fortunate, as you said, to enjoy what I do and to get the feedback. Like one of the things my wife says about her teaching, she doesn't know, the score was good. But I get so much from the kids who are, thank you, teacher. That was great. You gave me confidence. I'm getting more direct feedback that allows me to go forward, and hopefully I can stay motivated and find ways to teach into the future, and maybe there'll be some business opportunities on top of that. Yeah, you never know. Whatever I could do. Podcasts for life. Woohoo!
Kevin Pope was on one of the earlier podcasts, and he proposed a foreigner's retirement compound. Do you think it could work in Korea?
I think it could work. I think that's a great idea. But I wouldn't live there.
You're not good enough at shuffleboard, or what?
Well, if we had certain things, I think the proposal of that. But here's another thing. I just reading about that aging population, a retirement community. Huh? Sorry, not my deal. I'm never going to be part of a retirement community. But if we use that retirement community as a teaching aid, get those people doing fun things, tours, giving
But isn't that what a retirement community is?
Well, I don't know. Have you lived in one?
Well, I went to mom and dad's in Florida, and it's, swimming, shuffleboard, bingo nights, craft days, dances. Every kind of social activity. It keeps them active.
Grown man play dates.
There you go.
Where if you're in Canada minus 40 in the winter,
I agree.
You're not going anywhere.
Oh, I will,
So 5 months of the year, your social system's cut off.
But I think to Jeff's point, it's not necessarily about social interaction even. It's more about productive use of time rather than just purely entertainment or
I agree.
Things like that. Which
I think, again, I look at my mom. My mom's going to be 80 this next year. Going back to Canada for a big bash, all the family from various parts of the globe showing up for that. Now, my mother, she'd never joined a retirement community, not her deal. But she's fortunate to have a man in her life, and my mother volunteers. She does this, she does that. She has become completely productive with her deal. So I think a retirement community is great, and I'd love to be part of all the programs. I just don't know if I want to live there. Right? It's like Groucho Marx said, man. Why would I join any club that would want me as a member? Yeah. Right? Do you really want me there all the time? And as Scotty just said, productivity, having things to look forward to is the key. How many people do you hear retire, look up the money, and, 3 weeks later die of a massive heart attack because they've got no mission in life, no thing to look forward to. Whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm, retirement community is a great idea. As you also mentioned, Nate, options. The more options you got in life can only be better, all right? You can choose what you want to be productive in, how you want to be productive, and where it's going to go.
I also think a lot of it depends on your health.
Very much.
You can say whatever, but if you can't take care of if you can't cut your grass and
how long do I get? No Coca-Cola? No milk? You think that give me an extra 10
and
years?
take care of your yard or whatever. I mean, then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
okay, living in a seniors condo complex where you have at the community center and stuff, maybe it's a lot more practical.
Very much.
But-
Downsizing is just a fact of life.
Health would definitely depend on it. And I
Very much so.
we had that negative impression of trailer parks and everything.
Oh,
But
no.
once I got down to Florida and I went
They're
and
nice.
saw mom and dad's, I mean, I would live there in a minute. And not at all is it, really quiet and there's some
party
wild
centers.
guys. They're on their golf carts drinking beers down the road. But it's kind of a private, like-minded. It doesn't mean they're old and out of the game, but I used to be an electrician. Okay, now he fixes all the trailers' electrical problems. I used to be a carpenter. Okay, he does.
There you
outside.
are. That's
So
productive.
everybody kind of does
Whatever
what they're good
floats
at.
your
So-
boat, man. If that's what's floating your boat, some of those retirement communities are the boss.
Something I want to do more as I get older is actually producing. I've found in my life, I get the greatest joy from making, or whether it's, you said, writing a book, whether it's making a book or creating anything. You can probably speak to this. You make your lights or whatnot. That's that and being involved in connecting in the community through volunteering are the two things I derive the most
You guys have done well.
The
man.
most,
Kudos to both of you. You guys are awesome.
the most joy from.
Well done.
Yeah, in my 34 years, I'll drop some wisdom on everyone. But anyways, creating or producing is definitely. I can't agree more that's something that everyone should strive.
Even like,
everyone
for
should strive
example, now I had cut off everything in my schedule. I've only done a couple of things. Like I said, as you guys know, I work hard when I got to work. But now I said, and then I'm at the computer. It's 9 at night. I don't want to watch another drama.
Braveheart.
I don't want to watch Braveheart again because I haven't been drinking. Braveheart is when you're drinking. Freedom. By the way, best movie ever. Whatever you say.
the only man brave enough to start Braveheart at 3 a.m. after a full night of drinking and finish it. 3
weeks ago, started and finished Braveheart at 3 a.m. Yeah, it made the next day's schedule a little wonky, but it's all good. But where the hell were we anyway?
Creating.
Being creative and doing that. And now, especially with the options via computers.
Yeah.
All right. You can make your own beatbox. You can record. You can do that. Like you're not limited. You can put certain things in. As I say, quest for knowledge, learn some stuff. We're never too old. There's so much out there to learn, do.
Yep.
Grasp.
So I think the internet's a great thing for that generation to keep them in the game and keep them active and learning and reading and you can get everything at your fingertips. I don't mean they should be on there all day, but there's a lot of options for them now, which is great. And if it's teaching yourself how to cook or
Very
sew
much so.
Or break.
whatever.
Our break. Nice.
No, they need to do it the way I did it. I had no YouTube when I started, so I gotta learn the hard way.
The old-fashioned way.
That's right.
Last one I want to get in here before we take off.
Yeah.
You've had a group of dogs as long as I've known you.
It's a pack of dogs.
Pack. Mongrels.
I was gonna say a herd, but I know it's not a herd. Anyways,
You call it a group of crows?
you've had the
Murder.
It's a murder of crows.
You've had the pack of dogs there
it's
for
the crows.
ages. They've come and gone. There's been a few additions, a few subtractions. Give us a little bit on the dog culture in Korea.
Ooh, very interesting culture. Originally, the dog was there while I brought kids to Canada 1 year without my wife. I said, I'm going to bring a group of kids to Canada. She said, well, I need a companion. And I said, get a lover. And she said, no, I don't want that. And I said, oh, you're a good woman. Anyway, she wanted a dog. So we got one dog, Gizmo, God love him. And then we got a partner for Gizmo. Next thing, starting to have puppies. Next thing, we got a brood. We got 4 dogs, all right? It was just amazing. They were great dogs and the whole deal. Dog culture in Korea, it's, how do I say, very different, very interesting in some ways. A lot more people have dogs nowadays, especially with the single culture growing up.
Yeah.
A lot more having companions. A lot more dog-friendly areas. Dog park in Ulsan, a couple of them now. great areas to walk your
Pet
dogs.
shops opening up.
Pet shops all over, pet cafes, pet
Grooming,
hotels,
yeah.
grooming. I saw somebody said there's a mobile grooming service now.
Oh, I see.
So like, I mean, all good. You know, my dog's been mobile.
What's the name of the Dumb and Dumber?
What's
The
that?
Shag and Wagon.
Shag and Wagon. But, you know, any of these things, when I started out with the dogs, it was kind of like they were just, you know, in the neighborhood. Now, I was fortunate enough. I didn't live in a big apartment building. I lived in a villa, small Jutec. So easy to take the dogs out. Dogs got a lot of things. You know, they're all good. But again, I have apartment dogs, Shih Tzus, tiny little things, you know, like, I mean, I've had bigger apartments, so they've got room to run. They got room to. Finally, our newest dog called Poodle. Well, of course, she's a poodle named Poodle, just to mess with the Koreans, yelling at her, Poodle! They're like, it's a poodle, idiot. I know, but that's why she's a nutbag. But we rescued her. Actually. Friends of ours, Mark and Lisa, found her. Somebody, beautiful little dog, put out. And there's the thing. That's the bad end of this culture is many people don't realize what it takes to take care of a pet. Putting a pet out on the street, and there's a pet running around. They move to a new building, and the pet is gone. Yeah. So next thing you know, that poor dog is either, you know, one-way ticket to dog soup or, you know, doing something else. They're in a shelter, which are good. Yeah. And talk about a small world. My niece,
I ate my first dog.
My niece just adopted a dog, rescue dog from Korea. And if you remember, we used to sponsor through Shima. You guys did an event.
Yeah.
We sponsored the dog shelter, which I think it's one of those dogs. So we indirectly talk about coming around. Wow. She just adopted a dog from Korea. Wow. So it's great. And I think nowadays with the dogs there, it's very easy. You can take care of it well. A lot of people are into them. People aren't running away. I had a Shih Tzu. He was standing in front of a girl. She was maybe middle school, 3 girls. They were jumping up on a bench while he wagged his tail. Ah, it's going to kill us. I'm like, it's a Shih Tzu. One kick and you score the goal, right? Like the dog can't even bite your little pinkies. And this dog was the most lovely dog, wagging his tail, looking at them. Why are they screaming? What's going on? I must be very scary. So I think, you know, having dogs in Korea now is pretty good. A lot of people accept them. A lot of places to walk them, a lot of cool things to do with them, a lot of catering services for them. So anyway, I think we got to wrap this up, don't we, gentlemen?
We do.
I just want to say one last thing.
Yes.
Gentlemen, appreciate having me on. I think what you guys are doing and your presence in the community is excellent. So keep up the good work, boys.
Thank you.
Half Nate and full Brian.
We hope
and Scotty, great to see you.
We hope to have you back on, Jeff. That's I'm sure people are gonna love this one. Anyways, nice. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye bye.